Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot. We are going to jump in and do another reading today that sheds a little bit of light on the confusion. So things have been pretty intense with, we've had an ongoing Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde. We've got a full moon tomorrow. A lot going on there, but also just a lot going on with you, with your person, with that energy. So we're going to jump in and just see if we can kind of demystify it, pull the pieces apart a little bit and take a look inside. So it'll be a general reading. It is for this collective, so it's not going to resonate with everybody, but if you find that it resonates with you, check out some more of the messages. You may want to subscribe. I say that in the beginning of all of our readings, but it's important that I say it because I feel like if we've got, it's always somebody, it's always new for somebody. I'll just say that. It's always going to be a new reading, a first reading for somebody. So let's go ahead and jump in by looking at that energetic and emotional backdrop and just kind of seeing what it is that we're operating in today. What is the energy that you're operating in today? I talked about some of the things that are at play. We've got the Strength card that's come out. Feel like I need to grab another one. And we've got the Moon card coming out in the reverse. So the Strength card in the upright, the Moon in the reverse, something having come to light. There's something that is, I guess, not necessarily becoming clear necessarily, but it is certainly something that's been communicated. We had a lot of tumultuous and rapidly changing energy over the last couple of days. In fact, yesterday we saw change happening as we were doing the video, similar to last month's thank you video. I think we saw change occurring as we were doing the reading, so it was kind of interesting. But here we see that there's still that good, solid, firm foundation that you guys are standing in. And with the Moon card here in the reverse, we also see some evidence that things are starting to unfold a little bit. So we said we wanted to pull the pieces apart and look inside. This is good energy for doing that. And I feel like this is a little bit of that full moon energy coming through. We've got a full moon coming in tomorrow. Full moon, it is also a super moon, and it's a blue moon. I think it's 37 years that we're going to see our next super blue moon. So that's super moon is when it's very close to the earth. And a blue moon is when it happens, when you have two full moons in the same month. And so this is a super blue moon. And like I said, it's not going to happen again for a long time. I believe 37 years. So there's a special energy in there. This one's going to be in Pisces. But what I like about this moon is it's got this energy of resolution. So I'm seeing a little bit of that, or a little bit of what drives that, a little bit of the energy that drives that. So with the super moon that's with tomorrow's super blue moon, and actually I think it's coming up on the 30th. Wait, 30th or 31st. I'll have to take a look. I think I'm going to do the reading tomorrow, but we're already in like the shadow of it. We can already feel it. But we'll take a look at that specifically and just kind of see what kind of messages come out, but I can very much already feel it. We've got the Chariot and the Knight of Spirals here, essentially, the Corsair and Hermie the Hunter. So the Chariot is about the get up and go. The Knight of Spirals is about that push forward. And so these are really great energies when it comes to wanting to resolve something. So I feel like you've been setting yourself up for some change, and this is going to be really the time to put it into action. This is the kind of energy that puts it into action, and having this strength in the foundation is going to be really helpful. So this is the energy that you guys are in. It might feel like you're locked in and it's about time to go, and that may start to feel a little bit tough for you. That one, it's like there's a lot of anxiety wrapped around it, but not necessarily because you don't believe you can do it. And yet there's this little edge of not being so sure. You're going to have to use your intellect. We've got the Queen of Scrolls here. That's air energy. We've got the Queen of Stones, which is earth energy. Queen of Stones is in reverse. And that's that steady energy of self-worth, of, it's the piece that you would think is implied here, but doesn't necessarily feel that it is implied. And yet you can pull yourself out of that tailspin with the Queen of Scrolls energy, that air energy of logic and being able to say, I'm going to make a fairly swift decision. So there's a clarity in this energy that we probably haven't seen in probably, I want to say 3 days. Because there was a day where the energy kind of came up for air, made things a little bit better, but then it kind of got confusing again. And with all the swirling that's happening, this really isn't too strange. We've got the Five of Stones. It's a reminder of the reason that you're here, the reason that you've been here learning these lessons. This situation has been very confusing for many of you, because it's like you feel like you can't figure out necessarily why you're there sometimes. Like, why did this all happen? Then you get in and you start learning about the lessons, but it can still be difficult on a day-to-day basis to say, okay, tell me again why I'm going through all this, why it won't go away. And your person has something similar going on with that too. We've got the Eight of Spirals that just came out in the reverse. It's almost like a quiet time. The Eight of Spirals does not always mean communication to me, but in this case it kind of does. It feels like it's difficult for one of you, maybe both of you, to make a decision about what to say, when to say it, whether you should say it. Communication becomes very challenging in this energy. And then we've got the Page of Mirrors, which is just kind of a reminder that you're very much still in the process of learning right now. This is not something where it's a done deal. For sure, there is a lot that both of you have learned, and we've seen that, but it's also still plenty to go. And we're not sure until we get into the situation whether there's more time and separation that's needed. So this applies to your person as well. There's something that's unlearned. Both of you have some unlearned lessons, but the question is, how does that play out? So are they able to reach out when they make a decision about communication? Are they reaching out, and what's the nature of that? We've seen in some of the readings that if they reach out, it makes you kind of, it gives you a little bit of a setback in the energy, but by the same token, it also helps both of you to realize that this is something that is happening to both of you, to and for both of you. There's a delay. We see this is like the star, Elpi, the star card in the traditional tarot. And what it's telling us is that you guys are on this road to destiny, but there's a delay in getting there. We've seen that a few times, and it's a delay because of what sits on both sides. Your person is working through some things, definitely been working through some things with regard to a third-party energy. You've been working through some pretty significant learnings yourself. Both of you need some time for this, and as you are growing and learning from it, this is something that actually moves you down the path together, because everything that you do improves their chances of being successful and vice versa. So you guys are helping each other along, but it feels like a slow, arduous process where it doesn't necessarily, because you're not connected in the physical, it does not necessarily feel like you are going together, where you are remarkably connected in the spiritual realm. And like I said, less connected in the physical. And so in some cases you've got some communication, but most of you are not in close communication with your person. If you are, then you're farther ahead on the timeline. I've gotten some questions where people are saying, hey, I'm feeling left out. There are some people that are getting someone to reach out to them, and I'm not hearing a word. What gives? And the thing is, most of you aren't hearing anything. I'm hearing from people who are absolutely hearing from their person. However, we all know that's with varying levels of success in that communication. But we also know there are 100 people for every one that has someone reaching out. There are 100 more that aren't, and so it's, even though you're seeing some of the reunion of energy and people coming back, the vast majority aren't in that place just yet. So let's take a look at this energy that's just been really confusing and a lot of change over the last couple of days. A lot of shifting going on the individual sides, not necessarily as much shifting going on between the two of you. There have been some folks reaching out. It's been really good energy for reaching out, but there's also been some people who, like, it feels like their energy is right there on the edge. In fact, I think one of you said it feels like something's about to break, but I'm not sure what. And not break like break down, but something's about to change, break wide open. It kind of has that feel to it. And yet it's like the calm before the storm, which is honestly what this feels like. With the wheel in reverse, that's got this energy not moving, but it's like almost, it's not quite a stagnation. It's a drum roll. You know, it's not quite time for the big show yet, but it is totally getting close to it. So we have the wheel, this drum roll sort of feel to it. The Hanged Man, which is what we're waiting for. That's why this drum roll takes so long. The Hanged Man is about the new perspective that's coming. It's something that both of you are on the edge of something new as far as a learning. And this is I feel like it's something that's going to impact both of you, but I don't get the sense that it's necessarily between you. So it may not be like a conversation that you're having, but you may work in the same place and there's information that comes down that impacts both of you, or there's some reason that you're going to be impacted by the energy that's coming. And it could just be the force of the energy of that full moon that we've got coming up here. It is a pretty strong one. And again, it's about some of that resolution with what you've been working on. You've been setting yourself up for some of that change. You're going to be putting some of that change into action. There's also a feeling of kind of dropping your ego and coming into your own a little bit. So that's kind of what it feels like this drum roll is all about, and part of why we've got that delay. So let's see what else wants to come out for this. Now, these were two separate cards, and then let's see, because I think this Three of Spirals is part of it as well. All right, so we have Ariadne, which is the Death card, in the reverse. A change that it's like you can't wait for this to come to pass, and yet it's not something that you're looking for. So there's a sense of dread and a sense of let's go ahead and get it done. And so that's a little bit of conflict, but you can kind of see how something like that might happen. You know, something that you're not necessarily looking forward to for some reason, or you've got some kind of anxiety about it, not necessarily even that you're not looking forward to it, but there's some sort of anxiety around something. And then there's also the Hanged Man here in the upright. So you have it over here in the reverse. We also have it here in the upright. This is so much coming in at you all at one time. And this is both of you, but I get the sense that there are truths that are coming at you at a significant pace. So we see that there is light that's shining on the overall situation for you both, but it's always going to be subject to your interpretation. There's a lot of move forward energy. This is the time to make something real. You've been working for it. Now push it into place. Indeed, we've got the Three of Spirals here, which is that feeling of, like I say, sometimes the ship has left the other shore. You're just waiting for it to come in over here. So this is something already having been set into motion. And we definitely get that sense here, but it's hard not to see that when you're in the middle of what feels like a raging battle. You know, there's a new hill that you're trying to move to crest, and there are also some things that you've learned since cresting the last hill. There's an awful lot happening right here for both of you, and it's just it's got a lot of intensity and a lot of ongoing and a lot of many things happening at once sort of energy. We felt this yesterday to a certain degree, but it was shifting differently. This is more like it has settled a little bit into, not necessarily settled and stopped moving, just it's not falling down a hill so much or falling down the stairs. It was more like, you know, falling down the stairs because there was a stepwise sort of feeling to it. And it was like something would just ka-chunk into place. And here it looks like something's come to rest on a step, but it's by no means complete. You're still halfway down, and there's some sort of force that's continuing to cause you to roll. Things have been set into motion. Interesting, though. There's something here. It's like you guys Okay, so it's like you guys pass like ships in the night. There's a sense of you driving close to one another on the road and happening to be aware of each other. There's something here happens. And you know what? I think some of you aren't going to be in the same place necessarily, but it's going to be you're driving down the road and you see a car that looks like theirs, or there's something here that reminds you of the situation. And then you go down memory lane. This is a very nostalgic Six of Mirrors. That's water energy. It's Six of Cups. That can frequently be a nostalgic energy, but this is an incredibly nostalgic energy. It's the kind of nostalgia that can take you over with long periods of time of fantasies when you didn't think you had long periods of time to do much of anything. You know, it's got that sort of feel to it. But it's going to be brought on by something that is a bit of a reminder. And it's a reminder that sort of nags at you, but it's also a bit of a pleasant memory that gets things kicked off. You have the Two of Stones. It hits you on a good day. There's a balance between the energy for the two of you right now, for all of the feeling of things moving all over the place and not necessarily being consistent. There's a nice balance in that energy today, that I think is going to be helpful. Again, it's like this energy is constantly on its way down, but it's come to a little bit of a rest, or it's hit a plateau of some kind. You've got the Two of Spirals here, which tells us this is kind of a minor arcana version of things aren't done yet. There is still something that needs to be resolved. It's a little bit of a crossroads kind of sense, but it's not necessarily, I'm not getting the sense that you're at the crossroads yet. So where your person has some decisions to make here already with the Two of Scrolls, with the Two of Spirals here, I'm feeling like there's a lag in even being able to make some of the decisions around this. And I feel like in this case, when it comes to your person, so you may both be feeling this a little bit. When this comes to your person, though, it's going to be around that third party energy and something that is relevant to just, making sure that they're not destroying that balance. That they so prize. There's something with their family or with their work that they don't want to destroy. They don't want to upend it. And there's a definite sense that that could happen, and they're trying to work past it. They're trying to work past it. There is an ability for them to work past it, but it's kind of funny because it feels like they're channeling you a little bit. Feels like, we know they look up to you. We saw that in previous readings. We used to see it all the time. But it was this sense that they look up to you. They look up to your energy, and every once in a while they're like, well, what would you do? What would my person do? And so this is them kind of channeling you and wondering what you would do. And just a variety of situations, particularly when they've been inspired by you on some level with regard to this Six of Stones. Okay, so this is the Six of Stones. It's earth energy, and it's all about equal give and take of energy. And what we have here is not, there's something about an unequal give and take of energy that is happening to your person, and they're over here saying, well, what would my person do, which is you? What would my divine feminine do in this situation? They've experienced something that feels a little bit like the turning of the tables, and it's an uncomfortable thing, but they kind of also feel like, okay, I deserve this a little bit. I now have some idea of what it is that I've done, where they might have known before they were acting inappropriately, or they had acted inappropriately. They're understanding it on a new level here. So that's one of the perspectives that they have here with the upright Hanged Man. But there's still more for them with the Hanged Man in the reverse. And now, true to form, just like we've had the Hanged Man show up here in the reverse and also in the upright, we have the Wheel of Fortune showing up now in the upright as well as up here in the reverse. So it's a matter of, remember how I said this wasn't exactly stagnation? It's really like it's come to a bit of a same level, and there's still a sense of change. And this is saying that you're going to continue to see that sense of change. But when this is what precipitates it, okay? They have a situation where they're not being treated properly. They're not being given a fair shake. They're channeling you. That's part of what starts this energy back up for them again. But I get the distinct sensation here that they do it, they learn something from this. So they channel you and they get it right. They channel you, they get it right, and all of a sudden that's what's going to turn this hanged man upright, and it's what's going to turn this wheel upright, where they start actually moving again and seeing a little bit of progress. This could happen as soon as in the next day or so, but it just has to do with what the actual trajectory of behaviors is in this third party situation. So that's going to be relevant to it. With the moon coming into full, that's the reading we're going to do tomorrow. And we're going to look at just kind of what's around that. I wouldn't be surprised if that turned into a soulmate reading. But you know what I don't see here? I see a lot that's happening with your person. I see a lot that's impacting your person. I see almost nothing about how they're feeling. I see here that they learn by looking at what you've done. They're inspired by you. What would my divine feminine do? And then they do it and they succeed. They pull it off. But what happens here is they end up not jumping into something that it doesn't make sense for them to jump into. And suddenly they've learned something about your perspective that, it would have been kind of difficult for them to learn it with you there. I'll just say that. But it's also part of what's going to turn this star back upright, because that's ultimately what has to happen in order for you to come back together. So, or at least to come into union. You make the choice as to whether you actually want to come back together. So let's see here. We're going to go ahead and look into you, because what we'll do when we get into the extended, we're going to look into your person's emotional situation. Because in some cases, one of the things that I heard last night was, I'm really confused. It feels like something's about to break. And and if I were to expand that, I would say to break wide open, just kind of the way that person was talking. But they felt like something was happening on their person's side too. And so we're going to kind of look into that when we get into the extended. What's happening with them? What's going on with their emotions in that situation? So we'll take a look at that. But first, let's take a look at you and what you can be doing and what you can be focusing on, given what we see here already on the table. This is one of those things that we like to make sure we put into every reading, because this collective has always been so just full of being ready to learn, ready to confront that healing, even though some of this healing is it's a tough way to go. It's a particularly challenging path, but I really can appreciate how you guys have been jumping into it, doing this incredible job. So we've got the Tower. Boy, you guys are not afraid of any change at this point, are you? And we have the Seven of Wands, which is basically you not being afraid of any change. The Seven of Wands is like having the high ground. It is like feeling confident, being ready to move forward. The Tower is this sense of that's the tumultuous change. That's upheaval in the heart and in the emotions. You have something significant changing here, but you're embracing it with open arms and you're feeling confident. It matches nicely with this strength and that feeling of let's just go ahead and move forward. There's a lot of sense of moving forward in your energy. This is fabulous. It matches so nicely with the Venus retrograde energy, which we still have that Venus retrograde for a few more days. So that was giving us some of the, I guess, it's that personal reclamation. It's a sense of reconciliation within the self. Super significant in, sort of feelings, but not easy to come by sometimes. And especially not easy to come by in this form. This has been really intense. A lot of people gave up habits they've been trying to give up for a long time, or they're in the process of giving up on some of those habits. We have the King of Spirals. It's like a kick in a foot race. So if you're running a mile, the last portion of it, you really open up, and we call that the kick. This is that sort of feeling, and it reminds me of the effort that you're making, specifically associated with this Venus retrograde, like I was just talking about. We have it until September 4th. It's about resolving things that are in your past. It's about that personal reconciliation and reclamation. And this is that energy that pushes you through the tail end and makes it possible. We also have it with the Queen of Spirals. So this is attraction. attraction to the places that you want to go. It's attraction to, where's the nine of wands? I feel like the nine of water should be here somewhere. But it feels like that attraction to the place that you want to go, attraction to what's going to make you happy, that wish fulfillment. We have the Ace of Mirrors, which is saying there's something here that you are going to still need to work through as far as emotion. There's something emotionally blocked here that you'll need to work through on some level. But we have the Ace of Spirals also. One of the other things that I've noticed over the past few days is a whole lot of notes about here's that thing that you've been talking about that's going to set my soul on fire. I know what it is. I'm jumping into it, but now I'm kind of getting into the business end of it. And so I'm very excited about moving forward. I have a lot of attraction, like we see here, to moving toward that thing that's going to make me happy. We have a lot of push, that kick, that last push against on this Venus retrograde, and that's not where things stop. It's like you've got the wind at your back for a little bit here, and it's totally taking advantage of it. But with the Ace of Spirals here, this is that reminder that you've got something really passionate going on. So some of you know what that is. Some of you are still looking to kind of identify it. This is still a good time to really identify it and take off with it, take off running. We have the Five of Spirals here in the reverse, which is all about kind of taking the break off. You know, this is making it so all of a sudden it's easier to move. It's easier to get where you have to go. It's taking things out of the way, removal of obstacles. No more struggle, no more challenge kind of, or less challenge kind of energy. And I'm sitting here holding this, but that one's not part of this part of the reading. So you've got a lot of full steam ahead, but there's still this Ace of Mirrors feeling in there where you've got something that's blocked in you emotionally, and so it's something to consider. Hold on, none of that was supposed to come out. You've got something that's blocked in you that you'll still need to consider and work through. This is a good usage for those daily meditations, daily prayers, to just kind of see what it is that needs to be shown to your heart, especially because this is a great energy of it coming through. So we have the Four of Scrolls. Four of Scrolls is all about the healing that you're doing and the road that you're going down. Now we know that you are investing in yourself, and this healing road is a good road. We also can see that for a little while there's a little bit less fog. Sometimes understanding which direction to go can be a little bit confusing. There's, with this moon energy of showing it to you, there's a whole lot less confusion, whole lot less fog in the way for you there. Had a few of them come through this time. Okay, and we're going to take them in the order that they fell out. So it's going to be the ones that fell out all the way down here first. All right, just a quick reminder about this energy that we see here in today's energy. And I wonder if that's going to go into that full moon, because it's the moon in reverse, but it's like you're having the light shine on you. So it's a very positive. We just had the Three of Stones, which is kind of an honorable mention for this, but it's things moving in your direction. It's that wind at your back. It's kind of, you're being shown the way, even though you're not being able to see it in bright, direct sunlight. You've got it in by moonlight, and boy, it's the brightest moon of that you get. You know, it's supermoons are particularly bright. They seem about, where did I see it? I think it was like 7% bigger or something like that. So not everybody's going to necessarily be able to tell how much bigger it is, but they do seem pretty bright. So hopefully we've got good visibility when the time comes, because it looks bright, or it looks full for about 3 days, you know, around that, with that peak being there in the middle. We've got the Strength card here that's coming up here in the reverse. Just a reminder, the fears are still there. It reminds me, and it feels like it correlates directly with that Ace of Mirrors up there that's in the reverse, saying that you've got a little bit of a blockage. And it's associated with a truth that is in front of you, but you know about it. It's not one that you're unaware of. It's not a new truth. It's just one that has been difficult for you to absorb into your life. So it's something that you're aware of, but it's like you haven't figured out. Sometimes when things are extra complex, you kind of haven't figured out how to assimilate it into your worldview yet. This has that sense, and it's sitting behind this blockage that we see represented by this Ace of Mirrors. What unlocks it is this Ace of Wands energy, this Ace of Spirals energy over here, the fire, that helps you with something that lights your soul on fire. So you have to reach for that opportunity, and then you have to continue kind of working through it. And at some point, that work becomes kind of a slogging through it, because it's not the beginning anymore. It's okay, you're now into it a little bit, but it's not, if you stop and look at it, you're still going to be having a good time. So that's kind of how you can tell it's that thing and not just some other thing you have to slog through, you know. So we're going to go into the extended now. We're going to take a closer look with this energy that we saw over here. We're going to take a closer look at what is happening with your person, what's happening in their world, and then kind of how they're feeling about it. We'll also, of course, reach a little bit deeper and see what has to happen with you and what the recommendations are. Based on what comes out in there, we may ask some specific questions around you, but let's see what's happening with your person. So if you want to go, the link is down below. We're just going to dig deeper into this energy and understand what is happening today, especially in light of there's this new foundational strength and new things being shown to both of you, and a lot of push forward. It's not just on your side. This is mutual energy, and it's just kind of something that's surrounding everyone. So let's go take a look into it. Hopefully I see you in the extended. If not, I'll see you in the moon reading tomorrow.